All right, good morning, good afternoon, good evening from wherever you're joining us from. Welcome to Security Compliance Corner. Thank you so much, everyone, for joining the session. Please, I would like us to, before we start the session, can you use the chat window to introduce yourself in the chat? Tell us your name, where you're joining us from, and your expectation for the session before we start. In the chat, just tell us your name, where you're joining us from, and your expectation in the chat before we start the session. Thank you so much. Please use the chat window. I'm not sure anyone is typing at the moment. Introduce yourself in the chat, your name, where you're joining us from, and your expectations for this session. Okay. Thank you, everyone. I can see that more people are joining the meeting. Thank you so much, everyone, for joining. Please, can you use the chat window? Tell us your name, where you're joining us from, and your expectation for this session. I would like to actually know you to welcome you. So thank you so much for joining. If you can type your expectations for the session as well, that will be helpful. Just use the chat to introduce your name, introduce yourself rather, tell us your name, where you're joining us from, and your expectations before we start the session. Thank you so much to Lokbe from the United Kingdom. Thank you so much for joining. Please use the chat window, just introduce yourself briefly, your name, where you're joining us from, and your expectation. We'd like to get those details so that before we kickstart the session, our guest is already here with us today. So it's going to be an amazing session today. So please use the chat window as you're joining the call. Can you please introduce yourself, your name, where you're joining us from, and your expectation for this particular session? So while I'll be looking at the chat, so for those that's just joining for the first time, this is a security compliance corner. This is an event where we bring in different security professionals from different field in cybersecurity, cloud security, to expose us into different technologies so that we can really have the hands-on experience on how to implement the stuff in our organizations. So it is more or less a session where it's going to be actually conversational. You have questions. You are very much questions are very much welcome in this session because it's going to be an amazing session for us to learn. And today we have a very special guest with us today that is going to actually walk us through some solutions in Microsoft Purview. So please, I'm not seeing people introducing themselves. Oh, Pamdele, thank you for joining. Jude from Lagos, thank you for joining the session. Please, can you use the chat window to just introduce yourself? Let's do that in the next 1 minute for everyone that is on the call. We are 19 on the call, and I've only seen about maybe 5 people introduce themselves in the chat. Please, can you introduce yourself in the chat? Thank you, Akim, for joining the call. Thank you so much. Please, I want more people to introduce themselves, your name, where you're joining us from, and your expectation for the session. So this session now, we're putting it together like I mentioned, right? Fikayo from Kaduna, thank you so much. We want to see how we can, help ourselves, how we can empower ourselves with different technologies as pertaining to cybersecurity, cloud security, information security, or whatever you can call it, right? Because at the end of the day, we want to learn together, we want to grow together, we want to have opportunity, to have people that are experienced in this field, to mentor us, to give us latest information that is happening in the field. So thank you so much, Abiti. Thank you for training. All right, to join, let me jump into to introduce myself and our speaker today. Then we can start the sessions properly. Thank you so much, everyone that has joined the session so far. So let me quickly introduce myself. So my name is Emmanuel Itoje. I'm one of the founder. I'm the founder of this particular security compliance corner, where the idea just came to see how we can, basically bring security professionals to help us learn, right? So that's actually the idea. So I'm a Microsoft MVP, right? I'm also a Microsoft certified trainer. At the moment, I'm one of the MCT community lead for Nigeria and West Africa. And I'm also a Microsoft certified educator as well. And in my current role, I'm a technical architect. I focus on M365, cloud security, on Azure AI as well. Those are areas I specialize on. And also, I'm also a co-lead for one of our community, which is a Nigeria Microsoft security user group, as well as the Nigerian TCR community. I'm also one of the co-lead there. So I'm actually a very big fan of security. So I just share a bit of security certification that I've written, especially in Microsoft space, right? So these are some of them that I've written so far. So thank you so much, everyone, for joining. So let me quickly introduce our speaker. He's already with us on the call, and I cannot wait to step back behind the scene so he can take the floor. So our speaker today is actually Emeka Ndulu, right? He's actually a cloud and information security architect and a certified information security manager. He has over 8 years of experience helping organizations secure their Microsoft cloud environment at scale. And his work focus on zero trust security, advanced threat detection, and data security, ensuring businesses can modernize while staying secure. And what sets him apart is that he bridges the gap between technical security controls and business results. It brings hands-on expertise in Microsoft Defender, Microsoft Intune, Microsoft Purview, and AI governance, while partnering with different executives in organizations, security and compliance team to turn security control into measurable business outcome. And is a man on mission, and his mission is simple: is to make security attainable, quantifiable, and user-centric so that organization can safeguard their data while enabling collaborations and innovation. Thank you so much, Emeka, for joining us today. It's actually a pleasure to have you on the call today. Thank you so much for joining us. Hi, Emeka. Are you there?
Hi, thank you. I'm excited to be here and share knowledge. Please kindly
Thank you.
confirm I'm audible. Oh, great.
Yes, loud and clear, loud and clear. Thank you so much. Yeah, I'm going to step back because today we have a very important topic that you'll be sharing with us, which is actually preventing data exfiltration with Microsoft Purview DLP. This is actually a very, very interesting topic because in the era of AI, you see a lot of things, organizations trying to ensure that they are safeguarding their data. And I think one of the important topic that we can discuss is Purview DLP. So I'll be going backstage so they can take the stage and take us straight. Thank you so much.
Okay, I'm going to share my screen. Let me know when my screen is up. Okay. So without further ado, thank you for the introduction, Itoje. Please kindly confirm my screen is up. You can see the first slide before we
Yes.
proceed. Yeah. So data loss prevention, right? It cuts across identity, it cuts across endpoints, across service domains, browsers, right? The whole goal is we are going to use Microsoft's solution as an example, but the prevention of data exfiltration by insider users and by external malicious actors, just to ensure that organization sensitive data is within a confined, monitored environment, right? So data loss prevention, this is a breakdown, the pillars regarding preventing unauthorized access from apps, services, and devices. So for cloud native, this is agentless, right? When you use the Microsoft data loss prevention suits, the capabilities, right? You don't need to install any agent. It's agentless. That's the whole idea of cloud native, cloud managed, unified balance and protection. It gives you granular policy control, right? And this granular policy control speaks to your users, right? If your user has a printer, if the organization has a printer, you're able to segregate between a personal printer and an organization printer. And again, it's respects administrative units in Microsoft's security solution. It's one pane of glass whereby you can administer everything data loss prevention. You don't need to use multiple interface to secure your sensitive data in your environment. And it's also integrated with information protection, insider risk management, and your Microsoft Sentinel, right, for incident management, your security incident management, right? Then you also have, it's quite easy to deploy and roll out policies, as we'll see in the demo where we get there. Then this is just a breakdown of services that you can extend Purview to, right? Your M365 services, Exchange Online, the cloud apps, SharePoint, OneDrive, and Teams. Then for endpoints, your Windows, your Mac OS, your browsers, Microsoft Edge, and for non-Microsoft browser, non-Edge browsers, basically you'll be using Purview browser extension to manage them, but you can also manage Edge and other browser endpoints. We'll see that as we proceed. Then non-Microsoft apps, right? Dropbox, Box, Google Drive, and the whole service now, right? You can also extend your data loss prevention to this. And also you have your on-premises, your network share, your SharePoint on premises, right? Basically, where your data lives, you can always extend it, right? So I would move on. So unified policy creation, right? This basically speaks to you can create a policy and you can target OneDrive, you can target Teams and endpoints, right? From one location based on your data loss prevention policy. You can target these multiple locations. As we proceed, I will share best practices, right? Because most times it's better to target teams separately just to get the full capabilities actions. I will show you what I mean. Then you also have role-based access controls. Role-based access control, yeah, it just speaks to if you have HQ in UK and you have another site in Germany and you have created admin units, right? The German administrator can manage German users, right? That's just how granular it is. This just ensures that incidents and alerts will go to the German admin for German users. That is catered to in the flexibility of the DLP in Microsoft solution. Then you also have granular controls and policy. This here speaks to organizational printers and personal printer. You can choose to allow DLP for endpoints to allow users to print in the using the organization printer. Then for personal printer you block that. This just ensures that adaptive protection, insider risk management is properly controlled and there's visibility to what users are printing, so sensitive informations don't leave the organization. Then policy tips and user notification, right? They are users get tips so that they don't accidentally send out information that should be within the confines of the organization's cloud system, right? So that is available, right? Then you also have integrations, right? This is information protection, the labels, sensitivity labels and document classification that exist and you have classified. The DLP features recognizes them and scans them as well. Then user intent, this is adaptive protection, right? The capability, it gives you, DLP will give you that policy, like it works with insider risk management so that once risk is elevated, right, you can choose to block. From here, you can see the bottom, it starts from minor. It just gives the user policy tips, right? Just let the user know that you are sending external information outside to an unauthorized recipient. When the risk is moderate, you have the control to block and override, block with override. So it will block and give the users the opportunity to override. We'll see that in the demo session. So then the integrated alerts, right? The Purview DLP alerts are integrated to Sentinel, and same as the Defender for Defender XDR, right? The once you add the workspace connector and you connect those particular alerts, DLP alerts would also be ingested into the Sentinel. So, okay, yes, this I'm showing you this because this is a slide that speaks about the third-party applications instances, right? You basically, what you need is you need like a super admin and a global admin for any of these third party. Then you connect the third party app to cloud app. Then when you select instances when creating the policy, you have the option to select these particular locations so that you can actually manage and put out controls there, right? So let me just show you. Okay. So lastly, this is the cloud apps and devices and network share, right? So for cloud apps, these are the services the data loss prevention gives you visibility into, and also you have Exchange, SharePoints, OneDrive, Teams, Power BI, and Fabrics. Then the non-Microsoft apps, Salesforce, Workday, Box, and Dropbox. These are just third-party storages. Then while Salesforce is a different solution entirely, right? Then you have real-time monitoring and protection, behavioral monitoring, right? It gives you network layered protection, right? That's where your browser comes in, right? Then you for devices, Windows OS, Mac OS, then you also have virtualized environments that supports this Microsoft DLP, your Citrix. Just give me a moment. Okay, please just hold on. Okay, so I would move to the demo itself. So I will stop, or rather, let me just proceed. See, okay, yeah. So we'll start with Exchange DLP, and I will just walk us through some information that we need to know, right? So I've opened up the Purview Admin Center, right? Then we navigate to Solutions. Then we have Data Loss Prevention here, Policies, right? But before we proceed to create a policy, I would like us to see what sensitive info type is, because last week in the last class, last month, we discussed sensitivity labels, right? That is for data classification. Sensitive info types are one of the ways whereby we classify sensitive business data, right? There's the EDM exact data match, right? This is used basically in organizations that have strict naming convention, right, for their particular sensitive data. Um, Oil and gas, you also have the medical field, right, whereby you know names of drugs, names of diseases, and certain informations, right? Then you also have there the trainable classifiers, right? Trainable classifier, yeah, basically you have like a template, right, that you create. If you want to use it for workplace harassment, you just put words, different type of words that are not supposed to be used in the workplace. Then you put it in SharePoint, like a folder in SharePoint. Then you use that to train your data. But our focus today is sensitive info types. So we'll just click on it and we'll create one. So I'm glad we did introductions. So I know we are not just all from Nigeria. There's someone in UK. So we'll use a sensitive data in the UK while we proceed. But for now, let me just create this um, NIN. This is the Nigerian National Identification, National ID. Okay. So I'll just use this, then proceed. Okay, I'll click on next. So here you create a pattern, right? So we're going to click on, okay, the confidence level, basically we have the option to select high, medium, low, right? But we'll take high and we'll just create one. So yeah. So we're going to use regular expression, right? So I'm just going to put regex. Then give me a moment. Let me pull up the pattern. So basically for the expression, you can use ChatGPT. Once you put a sample of the NIM number to give you the regular expression for Botswana passport ID for anything, right? Depending on how you need to identify the uh, sensitive info type itself. And for this, we use regular expression. Just give me a moment. Let me pull that up. Okay. Can't this be D level? Yeah, so this is the regular expression for NIN. Then you leave it as string match. Then you also put you click on done. Then you also add supporting elements. So supporting elements in this case, so we're going to use a keyword list, right? So you need to give it a name, right? The name of your keyword. So you just as an identifier, as a placeholder. So you have the option of case insensitive. If it's case sensitive, you add there, right? But NIN, NINC, right? Those are words that once you have that pattern detected, but for this DLP to pick it and make sure there is a high confidence, we add this supporting words so that it doesn't just pick up any 11-digit number and that will be a false positive, right? So we'll click on done and we'll click on create. So this works. Yes, create. So we'll use this as we proceed. Just had to create that. Okay. Please give me a moment. Okay, please, do we have any questions so far? Hello? Any questions in the chat? Yes, please go ahead, ask your question.
So I think we have a question. Emmanuel was asking, they say, what about collection policies? And he also asks another question, how does the validator under CIT work?
Okay, so validator under CIT. I will start with that because I don't clearly understand the first question. Validator under CIT basically speaks to examples that you can use to validate the SIT. In this case, the NIN. Do I want to put sample NIN there for it to validate that they are correct? That's just it. Just example that you're feeding the system with to validate this. Please give me a moment. I need to just attend to something urgent. Please just give me a few minutes. I'll be right back, please.
No worries. And Cynthia, I can see your hands up. Let's wait for the speaker.
Okay, thank you for your patience. I've requested my wife to assist, so I would take it up.
You're sharing your WhatsApp.
Okay, so Emmanuel, please, what about type of classifier? You need to, I think you can unmute and ask your question, Emmanuel. That would help.
Yes.
Hello, yes, hello, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Yes, good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Thanks for the training so far. So I'm asking about collection policy. Is the type of classifier you are talking about trainable classifier EDM. If you
Oh,
go
okay,
down,
okay, thank you.
then there
Yeah.
is collection policy. So that's what I was asking about.
Oh, okay, okay, I see. I see. So what's your question regarding the collection policy?
So I'm asking that how does it work? I know about the trainable and the EDM,
Oh, okay,
but the collection
okay,
policy. So I'm asking that how does that one work? Because you didn't mention
okay.
it. Thank you.
So honestly, I've not played around with this, but I'll just make it as a homework. Possibly I will play around it, then I will have another session whereby I can speak to it or somebody else will speak to it. Yeah. Or please, does anyone in the room have the answer to regarding collection policies?
I haven't played
Okay.
around it myself, but
Mhm.
I will share a link that Emmanuel can use to read more about it.
Okay. Okay. And we'll make a note to just either bring somebody or would learn more and come and share the knowledge here. Yeah. Thank you. So I would proceed. So we'll go to policies, right? So we're going to take it one step at a time. We'll start with exchange, move on to teams, then we'll close out with endpoint DLP scenarios, right?
Sorry,
So,
Emeka, you're not sharing your screen.
oh, thank you. This,
My hand is up.
okay. Yes, please go ahead.
Can I talk?
Yeah, go ahead,
Yes, you can.
St. Charles, go ahead.
All right. Yes, my name is St. Charles. I'm new here. This is my first class, so I'm totally lost. I'm confused.
You are
Everything you
welcome.
guys are just doing here. Yes, I'm new. This is my first time. Yes.
Okay.
So
Um,
I
so I
am
will
trying to
give
wrap my head where I should begin from. Yeah.
a good place to start from is Emmanuel Itoje's YouTube channel. So he will put the link in the chat. It will expose you to classes that we've done, sessions that we've had, and it will give you like a precepts, like precedents of what we are doing today. So what we are doing today is data loss prevention, right? How to
Okay.
prevent sensitive data from leaving the organization. And
Okay.
with Purview, right? Today's class is just focused on data loss prevention from an Exchange Online, SharePoint, Teams, and endpoints DLP. How you can onboard the device to Purview and how you can protect your browsers, just sensitive info types that leave your organization. So what we've just created is a sample SIT, in this case, Nigerian NIN. That's what I did last. Then we were going to use NIN as a sample of a sensitive data. It could be like CBN today or a telecom that interacts with users, and NIN is one of the sensitive
Okay.
information that they don't want to leave the organization. It could be a financial service
Okay.
organization that use credit card, right? You don't want users to be
Okay.
sending credit card outside of the organization, right? Or it could be
Yeah.
you have GDPR, you have UK sensitive info types like driver's license. So we're going to see some out of the box policies and we're going to create some by ourselves some custom policies.
Okay.
Okay. Yeah.
I'll
So
do just that. I'll go back to the videos.
yes. So from data loss prevention, I clicked on it and I'm here. Here you select data stored in connected sources. This addresses your M365 apps and services and your devices and your cloud apps, right? This browser and network activities, this is a pay-as-you-go model, right? It targets the generative AI, Microsoft 365 Copilots. Let's go, let's open it up so we can see. Usually custom, yeah, just for us to see.
Okay.
Yeah, so yes, so these are when you select that, this is basically data in transit, data in use, right? So these are the locations: OpenAI, that's ChatGPT, Google Gemini, Copilot, and DeepSeek, right? But this model, for you to do anything here, is pay as you go, right? So once you click on it,
Okay.
you have the option to create conditions and actions similar to the ones that we'll be creating subsequently. The whole goal is to block what your users would share with these platforms, right? So we
Okay.
just go back, right? And we select this data connected sources. Okay, so the first policy we'll be creating, just give me a moment to turn off my video and we can focus. So we'll be creating a sample DLP policy. In this case, we don't want organization data to be shared with, say, a Gmail, right? So you are going to just
Okay.
create a policy and say block sharing with Gmail. So yeah,
Okay.
so we just give it a description: block sending, block external sharing, external domains, right? Then we can click next. So if you have an administrative unit like German location or any location here, for this case, we uncheck on-premises and instances. This speaks to cloud app instances. Devices, we'll come back to devices, and we'll uncheck Teams. We're coming back to Teams and just focus on Exchange, right? Let me show you this, then I'll come back. So we're going to create a rule, right? The rule we're creating here is, this is where the magic happens, right? So this is actions. You see, one of the best practices is targeting locations. If I target all the whole locations at once, right? Please make a note of these actions here. I see that I have quite a number of actions to play around with. But by the time you go back and you select multiple locations, select everything, and you select, okay, no, you can't, this has to be a different policy. Yeah, you just give me a moment, because it's, yeah, so click on create DLP policy and click on create rule. Now, if you click on actions, you see that you have limited actions. So I just want to bring that to your attention so that you are able to understand the reason to niche down your policies. So we're going to go back, and you can leave SharePoint, OneDrive, and Teams, right? What this SharePoint and OneDrive does basically is it just indicates that those documents are sensitive, right? So for this case, I will just uncheck Teams and we can proceed. Then here you have, if you want to actions, right? If you have the option to apply this policy to specific users or groups, right? Or all users and groups, right? So we're applying all in this case, right? Then we are still checking SharePoint and OneDrive, but ideally we can just uncheck and target Exchange. Then, yeah, so we create our policy. you need to always give your policy a name. So block external domains rule. So right, so yeah, now this is where the magic happens. Content contains, right, or content is shared from M365, right? So we're selecting content shared from M365. Remember, the objective is to block sensitive info types from being shared with external domains. So said outside, with people outside my organization. Then yeah, what do we want to add here again? So we can add recipients, right? So the recipient will target the domain. So recipient domain is, right? Recipient domain is, yeah, you can put, now you have the option to put gmail.com, then you have outlook.com, right? Any domain you want to just block, right? You have the option to put it there. So we'll just put these two for a start, and we can select action. So for action now, we are going to,
Your screen not showing again, no.
oh,
Not this.
what's going on? What's going on? Please, at what point did you
Yeah,
lose?
this- When the first time again to action, they please. Okay.
Please, is
It's
it
I'll
just
start
you,
again.
or
it's
it's
it's actually
everyone?
It's
showing.
all
I
hook.
think
It was not
it's
moving
Just
again.
him.
It freeze.
It's all showing,
No,
oh.
it is just you.
Oh,
It is just you.
Yeah, we can
Freeze.
see
It
it.
freeze.
Please,
It
it's
just
just
went
you.
off now.
Refresh your network.
okay, all right. So
No,
I think what you
It's
can do,
working. Yeah, it's
yeah.
working now.
Yeah, so
It's
what you
showing
can
now.
just do, so we are not distracted if your screen gets frozen, is you just drop a message in the chat so others can react. Yeah.
Okay.
So you click on restrict access. This is the action we are selecting now. So action here is restrict access. So we are going to block people, only people outside the organization, right? So you have the option to encrypt, right? So, but here we'll just go with this policy, right? So again, just to review it, content message is shared within this location, and the recipient domain is, this is the action. So now you have the option to, if you want user notifications, right? User will get a notification, right? You can put this on policy tips and customize your policy tips, but ideally these are just messages that you can create and just put on. You can just put this. We can use the this content sense. Sure. Okay. So this is just an example. Then once we're done, so these are, you also have the option to set thresholds, right? Threshold just ensures that it reduces noise. You want a user to actually have done this maybe 15 times before it's blocked and all those instances. But because we want to get the hands-on of what we're doing, we're just going to proceed with this. All right, so save it. Okay. Now, there's an option here. Give me a moment. Okay, just want to make sure everything is good. So we're turning this on immediately. Okay. Okay. Okay, there's one other information that I would share with you. You can see that this is a consideration. It's telling you to consider adding teams, right? But I want to use teams for a different scenario, a different test. So that's why I did not add it. So let's refresh and confirm that our policy is turned on, still syncing. It takes about 2 minutes or less. So please, if you have any questions so far, you can just, let's take one question before we proceed. There'll be opportunity for more Q&A.
So there's a question from Bayemi. Say
Okay.
that I notice you have specified Outlook. Could this impact emails sent from Microsoft Outlook? I'll appreciate some clarification.
Okay, so what I specified was outlook.com, right? If that's just an external domain, right? Because it's outside the organization. So just to go back to the policy itself so that we can share clarity. This is the rule. This is where I added, this is where I say outlook.com is similar to Gmail, just your personal Microsoft Live accounts, right? So just ensuring that if users send to Emmanuel at Outlook, their outlook.com email, right, is definitely not going to get this NIN, for instance, and this has to do with any. We are not using any sensitive info type. The organization's aim is just block emails from being shared with this particular two recipients domain. So let's proceed to test. Yeah. Okay. So now I'm going to put okay. Okay. Then you put test. Okay. So remember the rule. Okay, you just have to apply a label. Okay. So I also have that account here. This is the account on jasmine.com. So it takes, you should have a NDR, not an NDR per se, just ensuring that the message is blocked. Let's check the policy. Okay, still syncing. Okay, let's see what's going on. Okay, so I think we just have to give it some minutes. Let's go back and review the policy, just to ensure that it's so the road is where the magic happens. Yeah, specify the domain. Content is from MCSS5 block outside user notification to educate them. I think the policy just hasn't synced, right? You just have to because it send an alert every time the rooster matches, so you just have to give it some time. Let's give it some time. While we're waiting, we can create other rules. Let's click on cancel. Still syncing. Okay. Let me also check if the email address is this correct. Okay. Yes, the email address is correct. Let me check. Okay. I think the policy is just taking some time, so we'll not waste more time. We'll just create other rules, then we'll come back to it. So now we're going to create Teams policy. We use financial records this time. So we're going to use the out of the box. This is PCI DSS that targets credit card. So we're going to create next. So the whole goal of this rule is we don't want employees to share customer credit card information in Teams, right? So we want it to be blocked. So I'm just going to target this to then create. So if you see this, if you see templates, it gives you a template for you to review. I'm going to review the templates. Yeah, it's supposed to give you, okay. Let's go back and create ours. So there are two rules here. By default, you see here it says condition. Content contains any of these sensitive info types, credit cards, right? And it says content is shared from M365 with people outside the organization, right? So we're going to select that this is the first rule. So let's go back to see. Yeah, so this is 0 or 1. And let's check the action. So let's add an action here, restrict. I want it to be real time. So block. Yes, so it's going to block, right, outside. But this time I want to modify it to block everyone, including inside and outside. So if I share a credit card in the chat, right, it would block that particular person, right? So let's set it to everyone and we click on, let's go right, yeah, instances 0 to 1. Let's setting block everyone. Okay, now so that's over. That action now overrides what we have here in the this particular high, right? Because for there's low rule and there's high rule. Low rule will just, if it matches a particular instance, right, your users will be notified with a mail tip, right? But I want it to happen immediately. That's why I just enforced it that way. So now I'm turning this on. You have the option to turn on in an enterprise environment. Best practice is you turn your policies in simulation mode so you don't disrupt users' productivity. Security is always finding a balance between protection and productivity. So we have to put ourselves in our colleagues' shoes. Okay, so let's go back to, okay, this is loading. Okay, policy is created. Let's see if the previous policy has synced. Still syncing. It's taking some time today. And this is the PCI DSS system. They are both syncing. Okay. While we wait, we can take a question. Or I think we can create more rules. Let's create more rules and we can give it some time and take questions. The floor is open for questions.
If you have questions, please, you can raise your hand so I can call you to ask a question. So far. Hi, Emmanuel, yeah, go ahead and ask a question.
Yes, thank you. Can you hear me?
Yeah, loud and clear.
Yes.
Okay, I have two questions. So my first question is that what's the difference between the low volume detected and the high volume? And also, my second question is about the last policy that we created. So you pick the condition as when the recipient domain is maybe Gmail or Outlook, and then the action was that to block outside of the organization. So my question is that since we pick the action that should block outside of the organization, let's say we are sending it to a we're sending the email to another organization, will it still block? Because since we pick the action as block outside of the organization, just like you pick the team's action now as block everyone, you know that okay, it's blocking everyone. And then since we pick it as block outside of the organization, won't it just block both the Gmail, Outlook, and people outside the organization also?
So to start with the last question, it will not block, right? It will only block domains that you have specified, right? That's why we specify the Gmail and Outlook.com there, right? So your first question, please, can you just recap the question?
So I was
Okay, I
asking
think I
what
recall
the
your first
difference.
question between high volume and low volume, right? Yes. So those are just thresholds. I will go back to that policy. Let me go back. So these are thresholds. I modified that. There are two rules to serve different thresholds. The high is just highlighting that if the user does it between a specific number range, you just know that has become a pattern, and you are ensuring that okay, there is a strict action that goes on, right? So you see high volume is just volume. They are both rules, but the difference is just the volume. So I will click on edit, right? It says 10 to any, right? You are just being lenient to say, okay, if the user does it from 1 to 9, which is low, before I modified it, right? So this is low, 1 to 9 instance of sharing this credit card, right? Just warn the user, but I modified this policy. I modified this policy to add this action to block everyone because of this demo, right? But in an enterprise setting, the best practice will be you give instance 2 rows. So if it's within 1 to 9, you just alert, you get an alert. The admin will get an alert. That's what you have here. Send an admin alert. Right? But I added this just to get this very fast. Right? You can also see it's almost similar to what you have here. Does that answer your question, please?
Yes, thank you.
Okay. So let's go back and refresh.
So we have another question in case you have time to answer.
Yes, I have time while we're waiting for these policies to synchronize.
Okay, Chooks, just go ahead and ask the question. I said that you're on mute, but we can't hear you. Hi, Chooks, we can't hear you.
Good day, sir.
Hello, hi.
Good day.
Can you hear me, sir? I'm fine, sir. Please, I don't know. I just joined this class late, so I want to getting this Microsoft Purview. I don't know. Do you require an Azure account?
You don't require an
Okay.
Azure account. I'm going to drop a link on my YouTube channel. I did a video about a year ago. Now you can get it. How you can set up your own. So I'll share the link in the chat.
All right, sir.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Chooks. Oh, that Chooks. Chichiko, you can ask your question.
Sir, I was the one that just asked question now.
Okay. I think it's Chooks. You can't hear Chooks. You can drop your hand if you've asked the question.
Okay. While we're waiting for the policy to sync, I'm creating a user so that we can send a test chat on Teams. So we can leverage this window to ask questions. Okay. So I think after this, once we test this, we'll create more policies and give it time to sync while we wait for other policies. So we're going to Teams. Now this is the user we just created. We're going to start a conversation with this account. So let's open Teams here. Okay, this is a sample dummy credit card numbers I created. All right, so I'm just going to upload it. So it start to just drop it on OneDrive. Okay, create Word. Okay. Great. So just pasted. So you can see here, do you see this? It says Purview check complete, right? It's letting you know that first this is just labeling the classification that's on this document. So I'll just select one, right? But when you paste, it does browser monitoring, and you can see applied policy. This is just sensitive information that's in sensitive label in place. Just let you, once you select this, it applies this. But this is from last class, right? But our goal here now is to go back to share this. Let's see. I was expecting an icon here. Okay, so let's pop up Teams and let's share. Let's have a chat with Emmanuel. So let's go to people. Okay. Okay. Yes, so this is Emmanuel. Hi. He's just sending a test email and we'll go back here. Yeah, you can see this communication is on. So I'm going to send now. I'm from this account that the policies apply to, right? The policies apply to everyone, but just to show you what's going to happen here when I paste this. And this is network is still sending, because once it's sent, okay. Now that's sent. It shouldn't send. I think the policy hasn't sent yet. The policies are still syncing. Policies are still syncing. Okay. I think I turned off. So this policy is turned on, right? I would demo endpoint DLP. I just thankfully turned this on because I had some policies on yesterday. I had to turn them off so that we can experience these policies that were created firsthand. But apparently there seems to be a delay, right? So let's edit this policy, or rather, let me start from the foundation of what you need to do for endpoint DLP, while we give these two policies some time to sync. So for endpoint DLP, it's worthy to mention that you need an E5 license, E5, A5, or the E5 compliance or A5 compliance add-on, right? But for the Exchange, OneDrive, and Teams, M365 E3 would work just fine, right? So first you navigate to settings, right? So for settings, you have to come to this Purview settings, then you click on device onboarding, right? Under device onboarding, you come to devices. So here you will see an option to turn on device onboarding. To be a blue banner. Here is just the way you turn on auditing. You will just see the option, you turn it on, right? I've enrolled some devices. I enrolled this yesterday and it took some time, right, to appear, but I'll just walk you through the onboarding. There are two ways to onboard. There are multiple ways, right? These are the deployment methods: local scripts, group policy, MDE, using a configuration profile. This is still in tune. Then yes. So for this, basically, what you just need to do is you click on this download, right? It will download a package. I've already run it on this script. What I'll do is I'll just show you another method, because I needed to onboard this device for us to see the endpoint DLP, as it takes some time. So once you just extract, right, all you just need to do is run as an administrator, right? Once you click on run as administrator, it will give you this dashboard. Okay. Yes, this dashboard, right? It will pop up this CMD and to tell you you're about to start the onboarding of this device to Defender for endpoint. Yes. Then once you press any key, it will just run. Then it's as simple as that. Just so that I think you can see it firsthand. I will try to. Then I'll try to run it again. But this is how, when you've not onboarded your device, you get this. Here will be a clean slate. You just click on turn on to onboard, just so in case you see that. So this is the file I downloaded. So remember, once I click on run as administrator, it pops us this CMD, and it just tell me to run. Yes. So it's as similar as the previous one I showed you in the screenshot. All you just need to do is click on yes. Right. All you just need to do is click on yes. So in this case, I'll just close. I'll just close. But I would show you, while we are waiting for these policies to sync, I will show you how to push this policy via Intune. I just navigated to the Intune Admin Center. Let's see if this comes up. Had an issue with this page on this account. Let me just use another main account. This is a different tenant. Well, I experienced an issue with that tenant navigating to Intune. So it's for okay. Okay. Almost there. Let's go back to Yeah, so you can see for some reasons Intune is not opening on this particular tenant, the admin center rather. So I'll just show you. Remember, just to recap where we are now, we are trying to buy time by exploring Defender for endpoints while we wait for the other policies to synchronize. So let's just go back and see. Okay, they're both still syncing, not a problem. So now we are back to how we can roll out device onboarding. I've showed us how we can use local scripts, but this is limited to like up to 10 machines. Like it's not as flexible as using Intune to push this. So this is another tenant. Intune is still not opening here. Okay, let me try. Okay, I think it's the same loop. Still the same loop. Okay, let's hold on. I doubt if it will open the. Okay, but it's pretty straightforward. You just need to use a configuration profile in Intune. Then you select the this device compliance onboarding package, and it will push it to those devices. For some reasons, this admin center is not loading. Yeah, so that is that on onboarding, right? Then I think I would drop, let me see. Yeah, so you can refer to this documentation. Let me just put it in the chat. Okay. So what you now need to do next is you click under settings. Remember, you go to devices, then subsequently you come to data loss prevention. That's where you see the endpoint settings. So I'll just walk us through this data loss prevention settings. So this advanced scanning and protection. Basically what this does is once you turn this on, it gives you your purview, that scanning and monitoring license, not license, like go ahead to actually scan and monitor your documents in your environment. It also respects the classification you have already applied on them, right? This allocated bandwidth, it is not mandatory, right? This is when you want to limit the bandwidth if network and internet is a constraint, right? You can limit the number of bandwidth, the amount of bandwidth that is used for this scanning purpose, right? Then if you don't want to scan, you just click on not scanning, but that's what basically it's used for, right? Then if you have okay, so this basically speaks to if you have, if you turn this on, right, this is just specifying the location, office files and PDF and sensitivity labels, right? It's just that will be scanned, right? So you can click on this and save it. This is file paths applicable to Windows and Mac OS. If you want to exempt the files that will be scanned in this particular device, for instance, right, you just add the file path, right? If you have a common file path that you just don't want to scan, you just add the file path, and this is applicable across board. Do not scan that particular file path for your users, irrespective of the. So for Mac OS, you put it here. For Windows OS, you put it here. So then this is another cool feature that I think Microsoft added for forensics, right? If a user is debating or trying to challenge the evidence that they did not use, or they did not do this data exfiltration, they did not move the data, right? This is, once you turn this on, you can connect it to a Microsoft managed store, that storage, or a third party store. The whole goal there is you are able to get forensics of that video, forensics of that particular activity. Just see it like a palm, right? But it's not a PAM, it's just for evidence capturing for forensic purpose, just to provide evidence that the user did override and went ahead to send this sensitive information out of the organization. And you can see here that the maximum cached evidence for this device is the highest is 60 days. So the juicy part that really concerns us here, all concerns us, but I'll just speak to this, is browser and domain restriction, right? Yeah, you can see that on allowed browsers in your environment, right? Your organization can say they don't want to use Firefox, Edge, or Opera Internet Browser, all the old browsers, right? You can just put their executable name here. Once you put in the browsers, the users will not be able to upload any sensitive information here or just interact with this browser. It will redirect them to Edge, or just give them an information that these browsers are blocked. You get, so that is it. But for you to control, like if you want to allow your users to use Chrome, you have to push this Purview browser extension, supported on Firefox and Chrome, right? So I would scroll down to, so you see that these are the service domains, right? Service domains are below. I want to let you know this, basically what this is they are not allowed. Users will not be able to use them, right? Then you now have service domains where you don't want your users to upload sensitive informations to. You have Google Mail, yeah, you have Gmail, just the website address. Then you have Dropbox, right? You can add as many as you wish to add, right? I think you can add ChatGPT here too, and yes, you can add ChatGPT here and you save it. Right? The whole goal is your users will not be able to add sensitive information or upload it. So the other cool features there, but these are the ones we'll focus on today. So the next thing is, let's check our policies and see if they have synced. If they haven't synced, I would just demonstrate this data loss prevention policies. I'll just walk us through the one that is done and how I created it. So beautiful. Okay, still sync. Let's try one more time. Let's try one more time. So I'm gonna paste this. Let's use the charts. Okay, so I'm copying this and I'm sending. It hasn't still replicated because it's supposed to block and restrict. Let's go to Emmanuel. Yeah, it hasn't replicated. Not to worry, you just have to wait for it. But while we're waiting, there's something else we can do. So this DLP policy, thankfully I turned it on. So I'll just walk us through how we created this policy. This is a DLP for endpoint policy. It's turned on and it's synced. Right? I just had a gut feeling that if we create a policy, chances that it might not if, if be effective in real time. So we just have to try with this one that is turned on. So this is once you create a policy, you give it a name. Then if you have an administrative unit, you specify. Here, the location, we are selecting devices, right? So you're clicking on next. If you have, if you want to scope it to a specific device, right? You can do all those device grouping, but for all, this is all devices. Then click on next. So now there are two rows here. So we're going to edit to see the rows. So yesterday, what I did is this is credit card, right? And the confidence 1 to 9, right? You can play around this if you want this low confidence or high confidence. It's just threshold instances, right? So the first action is content contains, right? Once you click on this, it gives you sensitive info type. If I want to add, I can add the UK, say UK, for instance. Let me see what is the UK. No. Yes, so for UK, if you want to add driver's license, add NHS number, right? You can add it. You just click on add. But for you to do that, you need to come to sensitive info types. You can also extend it to labels, right? Then labels that are applicable, that are rolled out, right? You click on label, right? These are conditions that you can play around with. It's just like your mail flow rule, or this time for DLP, right? In this case, we selected content contains. Yeah, the sensitive info type we selected is credit card. And just for you to see how the credit card is selected, this is the sensitive info type, and you come here, you search, right? The NIN that we created, if I click here, can add, click on it and add, right? You now see NIN and credit card here, right? But I don't want to make modifications to this policy so that we're able to test it and see it firsthand. So yeah, so we have file type is. So what I've done now is this credit card, once it is in, let me show you the file types that we added. Word, Excel, PowerPoints, and any of these formats, right? Any of these formats, basically, that's what we have selected so that it's able to take this action that we have specified. Now, what's the actions? Now, under actions, you see actions because you have already selected all these options. So ideally under actions, right? So upload to a restricted cloud service domain. The option here is block with override, right? Paste this now is, you can see upload. I'll go over it again. Upload to restricted service domain or access from unallowed browser, right? So basically, these file formats will not be available from your Edge, from your Firefox and Google Chrome, and your Gmail, Dropbox that we specified earlier on. We're going to test this. Just want to walk you through. We'll not be able to paste. You'll not be able to upload, right? Then you also have file activities and restrictions. Copy to clipboard. This is block and override. Removable USB media, right? Copying to it. This is set to audit. Then copy on this unallowed Bluetooth and RDP, right? So you have control over, if you want, the way we can remote into a RDP, and you're able to, that's the server, and you're able to copy in and out, right? This will just audit it, send an alert. You have the option to block and override, right? So this is just notifications. Yes. So I'll just click on cancel. again, this volume, this row is just threshold. This 10 and above, right? This is just audit. It's something that you can play around it and just save. For yesterday, I was very intentional to ensure that I turned this to block and override so that we can see it real time. So now it's already turned on. So what we do is we just test. And remember, this device is onboarded. This device is onboarded. So I will just go now to open. This is I've opened a Gmail. Yes, this is Gmail, right? The test email we equally sent hasn't come through yet. Okay, so this is Gmail now, and you know this is on supported browser, and this is also we block this service domain. So what we're going to do now is we're just going to go to Drive. We'll try it both ways. Click on Compose, and we click on this is a sample file I created yesterday. So let me open it so that we see it. Okay, this is just the behavior, letting you know to dismiss or allow. So let's do Excel. Let's do Excel since this is Word, and just give me a moment. This is the DLP for endpoints in motion, but I'd just like us to, if you dismiss, it will block, but if you click on allow, you will be allowed to. I want to, okay, so I'm going to put this and open Excel. Okay, let me rename this. I think it's open here. Let me name it CCC 25th. So this is just security and compliance corner 25th. Then I would, because it's this OneDrive, it's not synced. So just to save us that time, I'll just save a copy. Save a copy. Create a copy. Okay. Oh, okay. I think because of the label applied, I'm not able to download this. Let me see here. Let's hold on. Okay. Let me see if I can choose. Okay, this further label is only available in the desktop. Just hold on. Okay, let me see if I can copy it directly. Okay, so if you copy directly, so if you copy directly, the device, let's see, let's send it back to, copying directly works, so we have to use a file format. So let's open Excel. Let's open Excel. Okay, so you can put Okay. Okay, it's not in that row. Just trying to arrange it how somebody, maybe a data analyst person, will be using it and how it could appear. Just put okay. So now I'm going to save this, save as. Just put it in any location. Select downloads, and I'm going to put it C. I don't want to use security tests. Okay, so now let's go to Google. Okay, so now let's start with Google Drive. Let's click on upload. Now we're expected to select this CSV file that I've created. Okay, security test. So this is it. It should lock. And now that did not work. That uploaded. That uploaded, but let's try the Word document I created yesterday. So this is the Word document, right? This it just has the same numbers, but what's different is just Visa and MasterCard. Let me try to add Visa and MasterCard to this and try to test again. Okay, it says why? Okay, no, it's still referring to these documents. So what it's saying here is while copying Visa, is not recommended if you allow it. So basically, it's saying well, like there's no copying in these documents. Let me try this and add Visa. Okay, I think now these actions are not supported in sensitive. Just give me a moment. Let me. I think the keyword here is this Visa and Master. Let's try Visa, MasterCard. So let's try to save. So I would dismiss this. Let me see. Okay, so let me just rename it. Let me add something to the name. So we're able to differentiate it. Okay, the document is still. So let's go. Let's try Excel. Yes, so you can see, I think what's the difference here is the sensitive for that word to trigger that it's a credit card, you need to also add MasterCard or Visa. So if you just put what's it called? That was that document. So if you just put the credit card number, expiry date, and the CVV, it will still pass the policy, but you specify Visa or MasterCard there, right? It picks up that credit card function to pick up the DLP. So you can see uploading security test 2, which is this document, to this location is not allowed if you allow it, you will need to upload again. So if I have the option to dismiss or allow, so this is just how the DLP endpoint interface interaction. Yes, so if you click on allow, it will upload. Right, so you can see it failed here. Can try again. So just this time it allowed it. So let's try again. Let's use Google Drive this time, and let's try file. This file, this is the same file. Okay, now you allowed it. So once you allow, it will allow, but once you dismiss, it would fail. So let's try the previous documents, visa. Yeah, so it says uploading to this location is not allowed. So this just how the notification works. Where can we try again? Where can we try again? So you have the option to block or dismiss or allow because of the policy that we set. Yeah. Then that is unsupported browser, and let's try to upload it to. Let's try ChatGPT, but ChatGPT will require me to sign in. I remember adding it there. Give me a moment. Let me figure out the browser. I signed in it. Okay, I think it's this. Okay. Please hold on. I just added this to the service domain today. The policies are just taking time. You can see this is some of the tests I did with this account previously. This okay, so I want to try to upload to this service domain. I just added that today. Let's see if that is sent. You can see. So this is a good test. Remember, let's navigate to the policy. This is the policy. The DLP. Let's go back. Okay, that will be under settings. Settings, and you navigate to DLP. Yes. Yes, so I want to see. Yes, these are the unsupported browsers. Then you can see ChatGPT here. Let me refresh. So there are two things that would make it not to work. The browser itself, right? And then I'll try to sign in with the ChatGPT on Edge browser. Let's isolate because the Google Chrome is an unsupported browser. Please, if we have questions, you can feel free to ask questions. If you have any question, let's take questions. Though sadly, the policies are taking some time. This is Google Chrome here. That's why we have that there. Then for service domain, I think the ChatGPT did not save here, but definitely it didn't work there because of the browser. So please, let's take questions.
Yeah, so we have some questions.
Okay.
I think when you're doing the onboarding device, so Lawrence is
Okay.
asking that once a device is onboarded, how soon do compliance and security baselines apply? That's the first question. Then the second question is what happens if a device falls out of compliance after onboarding?
So there are two, this compliance, let me go back there. From my experience onboarding this device, right, it took about 30 minutes for the device to appear here. That was first thing was configuration status was updated. But for you can see right there that for the policies to apply and for it to reflect to the dashboard, it takes about 2 hours. That's why I did it yesterday, because if I wasn't able to do that yesterday and I came on this call for us to do it, we'll not be able to achieve much. This takes 30 minutes or more, right? But you might not just say 2 hours for it to reflect. But yesterday it took 30 minutes. I saw it here, but this was unavailable, right? And if we click on it now, you see the policies that are applied to this particular yeah, okay. It doesn't show the policies. Yeah, but once you see policies synced, that means all the whole DLP policies, if this device is not exempted from that policy, it would apply. It's offering real-time protection. You can see behavioral monitoring. But ideally, just go with anywhere between 2 hours for it to reflect. Then for policy to sync, it might take some time, right? Might take some time. From what I saw yesterday, it took at least 6 hours, 6 hours, 6 to 24 hours. But you just know that that's cloud propagation.
Yeah, most things around Microsoft, they usually say that it will take about 24 hours. So usually I like to just give it time to propagate before I continue.
Then if I may add, the second question when you said going out of compliance, this is different from the in-tune compliance whereby the device goes out of compliance, right? That one, when the device does not meet the requirements set by the organization or some, yeah, that is totally different. So what I'm saying is this will not go out of compliance. What you have just done is you have onboarded the device. What you can do is you can offboard the device, right? I offboarded this device yesterday. I connected it to one tenant yesterday, 2 days back, some days back, but the tenant did not have the endpoint license, or the feature was not turned on. So I had to look for other tenants I could use, right? So that's why I've boarded it, then now onboarded to a new tenant. Just to show you that.
Okay, I think that's all the questions that we have.
Okay, let's check the policy. Policy is still syncing. Still sinking. It took some time on this. It's taking quite a lot of time, right? Let's just try it one more time. If it doesn't work, we'll just call it a meet. Then we can just all the policies were turned on. I had to manually turn them off, and my gut just told me to leave this policy on because it might take some time to sync and all that. Let me try this one more time to see. So I'm going to send an email, and it's pretty straightforward, to Ndulu Jasmine at gmail.com. Yeah. Let me attach the sensitive info type that we've been using. Insert for this PC. Testing DLP. Okay, it has worked now, right? It just took some time. So I think we can play around more policies, right? You can see this, we got the NDR. No, not this, just this is not an NDR, I'll not call it an NDR. This is just a notification that says your message could not be sent because policy in your organization wasn't, the message wasn't delivered to all recipients. So it will deliver to the internal recipients and external recipients, but once there's a Gmail and Outlook.com, it will not deliver, right? You can see the subject and all those things. I got this because I'm an admin. The user would also get a message. So now let me try it without adding that attachment. Right, so let me just not use Jasmine. Let me use Emeka Ndulu, just somebody else, so that we can test. Hi, how? Okay, that's so. So, okay, it just took some time to work. You see, this time I did not add the DLP, a sensitive info type to that document. I think the other policy we created was in Teams. So let's try that now and see if, okay, when you are doing the live demo, it makes you look like you are doing something. Okay, thank you. I appreciate I appreciate the feedback. It's just it thankfully eventually it worked, right? Well, just tells you how you need to test and test and test, and also just ensure that um your policy is working before you. So I'm going to test the Teams now. So remember the Teams is credit card. So I'm going to, let me try to upload this. Upload, touch from this document. Okay, this one went through. So let's paste it. Let's paste it. So if you use Excel, you put the document in Excel, it went through. Okay, either this policy has not propagated or let's check. This is Emeka here. Most likely that policy hasn't propagated. Let's refresh this and see. Okay. 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 Let's try one more time. Let's review the policy and see if we. Okay. Credit card numbers, message and attachments. 120. Block anyone. It's most likely a propagation because it should actually block it. You can see message and attachments block. Let's do this right. Let's add, let me do this and let's give it some time and see. So I'm going to remove this. Let me show yeah, I want to do it on this. I can delete this, right? It doesn't, because I've set my can just, this is just a row name, right? It's just because I want multiple rows there. Then I can delete this and I can use NIN. I'll select this and select Nigeria NIN and we'll give it 2 minutes. If after 2 minutes it doesn't sync, we can call it a meet. So These are just notifications, not this is where the magic happens. You're blocking anyone. Yeah. Okay. Okay, I think what do I want to do? Okay, to make it more interesting, right? I can add another condition and say file. Give me a moment. Not okay. Content contents. No, not content contents. Add a condition. Okay. Is hold on. Let me go back. It's shared from M365. Okay, so I want to remove that. Content contains. Can work with this so then it's shared with people within my organization. Yes. Block. Okay, so yes, the account I created is within the organization. We selected block everyone. Okay, so let's have questions. We are giving this 2 minutes for it to see, for us to see if it's gonna. Any questions?
So there's a question from Dilly. It says, have
Okay.
you come across a use case where a document has to label grid with the file property before?
2 labels.
Mm.
No, you can have just 1 label. I have not come across when the document has 2 labels, right? Because if you are changing the label, it will tell you to provide a justification to override it, right? So, Itoje, have you?
No, I haven't. I haven't myself.
Okay. Yeah, we're waiting for this policy to submit, and we can give it 2 minutes to sync. It's taking some time.
Yes, if you have any questions, you can ask the questions because you have less than 7 more minutes.
Hi everyone. I don't know if I can ask a question here. I think just
Yes, please, you can proceed.
so so the problem I've got is over here now, yeah. I have a default label which is internal. And for some weird reason, if a user downgrades the label to maybe confidential, which is basically that requires justification. And I've got a DLP rule that looks at that internal document. Because the document has been downgraded to confidential, I would expect that it should have 1 label assigned to it. But when the user files the email out, they get the what's it called? The notification saying that they can't send stuff. As part of my research and whatnot, I realized that within the file property, the default label, which was internal, never left the document. And I don't know if anyone has seen that use case before. So is that I manually delete the label, sorry, the GUID from the label property, from the file property, or I create like an exclusion. So I don't know if anyone has seen that use case before. I've had this case with Microsoft for over a year now, and even the engineering isn't able to fix what the problem is.
Okay, to react with you on that, I would say yes, that is the behavior from encryption. If you encrypt a document, right, the encryption doesn't leave the document. So I would want to.
It's just it's just a label without access control any encryption. It's just a simple label, really. There's no encryption in it.
Yes, so I was only using that as an example. If encryption doesn't really leave the document, the metadata of that document still remains. So that is the cause of the behavior. That's my own opinion around it. Just going by the thought process of if you encrypt a document, it never leaves and the properties are still there. So I want to assume that that is why the internal metadata is still applied to that document. So it might be safe to assume that once you classify, the metadata is still in the document, it never goes.
I mean, it's a funny one. I don't know. I'll just check in because I feel like most people would have seen such situation before. But in this case, it's just a plain label, no encryption settings, no access control, nothing. It's just a normal label deployed to a label policy. But so for some weird reasons, when users downgrade the label or change the label, and it doesn't really happen on every document. Maybe you might have like 15 documents, and the problem is happening like with 2 documents. So the only way I was able to work around it is to make an exclusion within the rule itself to exclude that particular grid, so that if anything is seen in that grid from the DLP policy, it would automatically exclude it. But even with that, it doesn't work 100%. So I don't know if anyone has seen the issue before, but I just thought to just share really.
Okay. Thank you for that. Itoje, you have any comment on this?
No, I'm not actually familiar with that.
Okay. Okay, it's safe to say the metadata still goes with the document, but the scenario you painted that it's specific documents, not all documents. It might just be a bug or something. So I think this, because I modified this policy, right? I tried to delete it to change the sensitive info type from credit card to NIN. It's still giving me this error that takes time. I hope you've been able to learn a thing or two, or just refresh your knowledge on what you already know. And thank you for staying to this end. I really appreciate it, because even though the demo took forever or did not go as exactly as planned, I had some scenarios that we were not able to touch, but I hope it was worthwhile. Thank you for your time. Itoje, over to you.
Thank you so much for the amazing session. Thank you everyone for joining this particular session. So the recording for this session will be uploaded on the YouTube channel. My YouTube channel, so I've dropped the link. So if you need to access the recording again, you'll be able to access it there. And I can see a question from Joseph saying, does Sentinel policy takes place only in Microsoft Purview? So Sentinel is a different conversation if you are talking about Microsoft Sentinel. Actually, it used to be in Azure, but Microsoft is actually migrating whole organization to the Defender portal. So it's a different environment. So I'm going to see everybody in our next month's edition of Security Compliance Corner. Osage, please, you can drop the question in the chats because we're already out of time, and I actually have another meeting right now too that I'm moderating. So thank you so much, everyone. Enjoy the rest of your weekend. Bye for now.
Bye, everyone.